Very good afternoon to all of you and welcome to EduSet Society. Myself Amandeep Kaur from GPCG Patiala, and today I am going to discuss with you a topic of Java, which is interfaces and packages. Most of you must be studying nowadays these both the chapters. So these are very important topics of Java. As what are the Java interfaces basically? In Java programming language, an interface is a reference type similar to a class that can contain only constants, method signatures and nested types. There are no bodies of the methods and interfaces cannot be installed. They can be implemented only by classes or they can be extended by other interfaces. Basically, why do we need interfaces? We need to know what is the necessity that we are introducing the interfaces in Java. Java does not allow multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance means you can inherit the properties of more than one class in C++. But this thing is not allowed in Java. At most in Java, you can extend only one class at a time. You can inherit the properties of only single class in Java. So this is a kind of limitation which is in Java. So in order to overcome this limitation, it has provided us the indirect method of achieving the multiple inheritance. It is provided by the way of interfaces. By using interface, you can extend the properties of one class, and after that you can implement any number of interfaces in your class. So what are the interfaces basically? These are like reference types. They may contain variables which will be constants whose value will not change, and they will contain the method signatures. So there is a big difference between method declaration and method definition. In interfaces, we will have only method declaration. Those methods will not be defined by the interface, but the class which will be implementing that interface will have to define all the methods of that interface. So this is the basic definition of an interface. Why do we need? In order to provide indirect method of multiple inheritance, we have Java interfaces. In Java, only single inheritance is permitted. However, Java provides a construct called an interface which can be implemented by a class. The classes are always extended, whereas the interfaces are always implemented. Whenever you have to inherit some class, you will use the keyword extend, but whenever you have to implement an interface, you will write the keyword implement. Interfaces are similar to abstract classes. We will compare both of them very soon. A class can implement any number of interfaces. In effect, using interfaces gives us the benefit of multiple inheritance without many of its problems. So, as I told you earlier, Java allows only one class to be inherited at a time. So, but there is no compulsion that Java can implement any number of interfaces. So by extending one class and by implementing number of interfaces, Java can inherit number of features of number of classes and interfaces. Interfaces are compiled into bytecode just like classes. They will be saved as simple classes and they will be running as other classes. There are a few things which we must know while implementing interfaces in our classes. The interfaces cannot be instantiated. That means they cannot be initialized. You cannot make the objects of the interfaces, so they won't be initialized. They will only be implemented in the classes. They can use interface as a data type for variables. You can use the keyword interface as a data type for a number of variables. They can also use an interface as the result of a cast operation. What is casting? Casting is conversion of types. So whenever you are performing a casting operation, you can use an interface. Interface can contain only abstract methods and constant. Abstract means you won't have to define the methods that are residing in your interface, and apart from that, all the variables that you will be declaring in your interface will be constant. That means the value that you have assigned to your variables in the interface will not be changed where you are implementing your interface. So these are a few things that you should know while implementing interfaces in your Java. What why do we use interfaces? It is an informal way of realizing multiple inheritance. As I told you, that it is the indirect method by which we can achieve multiple inheritance in Java. An interface is basically a kind of class, but it is not a class actually. It is a kind of class because it contains methods and variables, same as the classes, but they have to be only abstract classes and final variables. So the interface can be called a class because it contains the same things that a class may contain. These are methods and variables, but the variables that you will be having in your interfaces will be final, they will be constants, and the methods that you will be declaring in your interface, they will be abstract only. Therefore, it is the responsibility of the class that implements an interface to supply the code for methods. So, it is the responsibility of the class which is implementing that interface, that class has to apply the code for the methods. So, whenever you are implementing an interface in any class, that class will be defining all the methods of that interface which it has implemented in itself. So, this is the way how interfaces work. A class can implement any number of interfaces. There is no restriction on that. As I told you, in case of inheritance, Java classes can inherit only one class at a time, but there is nothing such fact about the interfaces because a Java class can implement any number of interfaces in itself, but it cannot extend more than one class at a time. Therefore, the interfaces are considered as an informal way of realizing multiple inheritance. That is why this is known as the indirect method of achieving multiple inheritance in Java, because we are doing the same thing with the interfaces that we would do with the classes. Because we can extend only one class at a time in Java, so we can implement any number of interfaces in our class, which will provide you the same functionality. You can inherit any number, you can inherit the variables and the methods of any number of interfaces. Unless the class that implements the interface is abstract, all the methods of the interface need to be defined in the class. The Java programming language does not permit multiple inheritance, but interfaces provide an alternative. If you are implementing the interface in an abstract class, then only you can define, then only you can skip the defining of the methods in your class. But if your class is not abstract, then you will have to define all the methods of the interface that you are implementing in your class. So these are some sort of limitation that are attached with the interfaces, because it is not mandatory that we would like to implement all the methods of the interface that we are using. So this is a kind of limitation that the interfaces have, as if for example you can consider an interface which consists of 10 methods. Then if you are implementing that interface in your class, then you will have to define all the 10 methods of that interface in your class. So this is the sort of limitation of Java interfaces. Anyways, let's begin with the next topic, that is difference between a class and interface. As I told you, you may consider an interface a class, but there is some typical differences between classes and the interfaces. That these differences are written over here. The member of an interface are always declared as constant, whereas the members of a class can be constant or variable. This is the first difference between classes and interfaces. The variables that you will be having in an interface, they will be by default constant. Their value will be final and you cannot change the value of those constants. Whereas the members of a class, the variables of a class can be constant or they may be variable. That means you can declare them final or you can declare them as variable. That means their value can be changed later as per the user's need. The second difference is the methods in an interface are abstract in nature. It is later defined by class that implements the interface. Note this thing is important. The methods in an interface are abstract in nature. That means you only have to declare the methods in an interface. It is later defined by class that implements the interface. The interfaces will contain only the method declaration. They won't be defining those methods which are declared in an interface. Whereas in the case of class, the methods in an interface are abstract. The methods in the classes are not abstract in nature and they can be defined in the class at the same time. So this is the second difference. Third difference is interface is absolutely abstract and it cannot be initialized. In case of the class, they can be initialized and they can be invoked if a main exists. Why the interface cannot be initialized, there is a reason about it, because you cannot make objects of an interface, whereas you can make the objects of a class. Then you can initialize the class by using the objects. The next is interface should be implemented using keyword implements, whereas the classes should be extended using keyword extends. The members of Java interface are public by default, whereas the members of class can be public, private or protected. The interfaces are slow as they require extra indirection, whereas the classes are fast as compared to interfaces. So these are the difference between classes and interfaces. We can repeat this one. The member of an interface are always declared as constant, whereas the members of a class, they can be constant or variable. Second difference is the method in an interface are abstract in nature. That means they will be defined later by the class, whereas the methods of a class are not abstract in nature, they can be defined at the same time. Third difference is interface is absolutely abstract, they cannot be initialized, whereas classes can be initialized using objects. Next difference is interface should be implemented using keyword implements, classes should be extended using keyword extends. The members of Java interface are public by default, whereas the members of a class can be public, private or protected as well. Interfaces are slow and the classes are fast. So these are the difference between interfaces and classes. Here is an example how the interface speaker will look like. Interface, I have the name of the speaker, name of the interface is speaker, and there is a method speak. And I haven't defined that method. Notice it, I have only declared that speak is a method of the interface speaker. How we will write it? The syntax of interface definition is interface, then you will write the name of your interface. First of all, you will write the keyword interface. After that, next to that, you will write the name of your interface that you want to do. After that, within curly braces, you can declare the variables. That means the constant variables of the interface, they should be constant or they should be final as well. After that, you can declare the methods that you want to declare in your interface. For example, interface speaker, and within curly brackets, I have declared a method public void speak. Note that after round brackets, I have marked the semicolon. That means this method will only be declared and it will not be defined by the system. So this is the way how you can define the interfaces in Java. Then after defining the interfaces, how you will implement the interfaces. Let's have a look. Interfaces are used like superclasses whose properties are inherited by other classes. Superclasses are the classes which are predefined in Java and they can be inherited by any number of classes. This is achieved by creating a class that implements the given interfaces as follows. Same thing works for the interfaces as well. Whenever you declare or define an interface, that interface can be implemented by any number of classes of Java. How you will use them? Let's have a look. After writing the class keyword, you will write the class name, then you will write the keyword implements. Next to that keyword, you will write the name of your interface. Note that you can implement any number of interfaces in your Java class. There is no limitation. And within the curly brackets, you will specify the statements, or you can say you can specify the body of your class. So this is the method how you can implement the interfaces. I have repeated that slide once again. The interface keyword, how you can declare the interfaces, interface name, then variable declaration and method declaration. Here the interface is the keyword and interface name is any valid Java variable. That means the name of your interface. Variables are declared as follows in interfaces: static final, type you will specify, it may be integer, float, character, any. Then variable name, here you will specify the name of your variables. Then using equals to operator, you will give the value to that particular variable which will not be changed. Note that all the variables are declared as constant. Method declaration will contain only a list of methods without any body statements. For example, here is an example of an interface definition that contains two variables and one method. That is interface item. Interface is the keyword, item is the name of the interface. Then within curly braces I have written static final int code. Static is the keyword, final is also a keyword which declares that the value of this variable will not be changed, hence it is constant. Int is the data type of that variable, code is the name of that variable, and I have assigned the value 1001. Then after that another variable has been declared in the similar manner, static final string name. The type of the second variable is string. Then I have declared a method void display. After round brackets I have marked the semicolon that specifies that this method will not be defined, it will only be declared. Note that the code for the method is not included in the interface and the method declaration simply ends with a semicolon. The class that implements this interface must define the code for the method. For example, interface area, there is one variable final static float pi. I have specified its value. Then I have a method float compute, float x, float y, these are the parameters of that method. Then the second method void show. How do we extend the interfaces? That means they can be extended in the similar manner as a class extends another class. So one interface can easily extend another interface. Like classes interface can also be extended, that means one interface can inherit the properties of another interface. An interface can be sub-interfaced from other interfaces. The new sub-interface will inherit all the members of the super interface in the manner similar to subclasses. They work as similar to classes. How do we extend the interfaces? Like classes, this is achieved by using the keyword extends, which is given below. I have written the keyword interface, then interface name 2 extends interface name 1. That specifies that here I have written interface name 2, this is the new interface which is extending the old interface, interface name 1. And within the curly braces you can specify the statements that you want to include in the body of the interface name 2. It is achieved by using the keyword extends as shown below. This is the same thing that I have shown you in the last slide. Interface name 2 extends name 1, body of the name 2. For example, we can put all the constant in one interface and the methods in the other. This will enable us to use the constant in classes where the methods are not required. Here is an example. Interface item constants. I have taken two variables in that method, in that interface, and in the second interface, interface item extends item constants, I have declared a method void display. And if I implement item interface, then I will be able to use the variables of item constant as well as the method of item interface. So, this is the benefit of extending the interfaces. The interface item would inherit both the constants code and name into it. Note that the variables name and code are declared like simple variables. It is allowed because all the variables in an interface are treated as constants, although the keywords final and static are not present. Even if you do not specify the keywords like final and static in front of the variables that you are declaring in the interfaces, still they will be treated as constant only. Still you will not be able to change the value of those variables in your classes. When a class implements an interface, you can think of a class as signing a contract, agreeing to perform the specific behaviors of the interface. A class uses the implements keyword to implement an interface. It implements keyword appears in the class declaration following the extends portion of the class. The general form of interface implementation is class, class name, extends, superclass, implements, then your interface name. This shows a class can extend another class while implementing one or more interfaces. It appears like a multiple inheritance. If we consider interfaces as special kind of classes with certain restrictions or special features, that won't be wrong. This is the pictorial representation of interface implementation. We have a class C and then we have a class B, which is extending class C, and we have a class A which is implementing the interface. Same thing is written over here. Next topic is packages in Java. How do the packages work? Packages are basically collection of classes, as you must have studied in C++. There are system defined classes. When you write conio.h and iostream.h, these are the header files which contain specific functions which are included in your system, in your program. Similarly, Java has packages. Java is a hierarchy which contains packages, then we have classes, and within those classes we have methods. So, whenever you want to use some sort of methods in your class, you need to import the classes into your class. Then to do so, you must import the package which contains those classes. So, this is basically a collection of classes. Packages are collection of classes. Packages provide a mechanism for grouping a variety of classes or interfaces together. Grouping is based on functionality. So, if you can that means based on their functionality you can group the classes, and the group of classes will be called as a package. What are the benefit of the packages? The classes contained in the package of other programs can be reused. The basic reason to have packages in Java is reuse of the code. You can write your code once, then any number of classes can use your once written code. So, this is the typical advantage of using the packages to reuse the code. In packages, classes can be uniquely compared with classes in other packages. There will be no name ambiguity in packages. So, if you are having a class name, a class with the ABC name in one package, then you can have the same name of class in other package. So, this is the second advantage of Java. You can have uniqueness in your packages. Packages provide a way to hide the classes. Definitely, packages can provide you the way to hide classes, because whenever you are saving your classes in within the package, not everybody will be able to see those classes, and not everybody can use those. There are two type of packages in Java. These are Java API packages, and second is user defined packages. First of all, we will discuss Java API packages. These are application programmable interface packages. That means they will provide you the functionality to provide application programmable interface. There are a large number of classes which are grouped into different packages based on their functionality. For example, java.language package, this is the first package. Then second is java.utility package. Third is java.input output package. Fourth is AWT, stands for abstract windowing toolkit package. Then .NET stands for networking package, and the last one is applet package. What does the language package contain? It contains all the methods like date, square root, all the methods, date and time function. All these are methods which are included in this package. Then the next one is utility package. As you all know, arrays are you cannot change the size of the arrays, but util package will provide you some sort of functioning which will have which by using all the classes you will be able to change the size of your arrays. Those arrays will be known as vector. So, utility package will be consisting the classes and methods which are known as vectors and hash tables. And the third is java.io, which stands for input output package. Whenever you are interacting with the input or output devices, then you will use this package. Whenever you want to take input from any device, and whenever you want to produce output to some specific device, then you can use this IO package. Whenever you are dealing with file streams, input output streams, then also you can go for this package. And the next is AWT, which stands for abstract windowing toolkit. It consists of number of graphical user interface options. There are a number of classes known as buttons, labels and windows. By using this package you can design a number of applications. The next is .NET, which is networking package. Whenever you want to distribute your data over some sort of network, then you can use this package. And the next is applet package. Applet is a specific package which designs applications which can be distributed over the network. They run over the browser only. Whenever other application will be running on the console, but applet can run on the window browser. It can be used to design window applications. So, this is the way how the packages look. First of all, we have Java, and within Java we have some specific package, that is AWT, which stands for abstract windowing toolkit, and within that AWT package you have a number of classes: color, graphics, image. There may be buttons, labels and radio buttons, checkboxes as well. So, this is the hierarchy in which the packages in Java are stored. We have, first of all, we have Java, then we have some sort of package, and within that package we have number of classes, and within those classes we have a number of methods which can be used to develop applications. Next is how you can create your own package. what are the steps to create your own package? First of all, declare the package at the beginning of a file using the form package name. Note that whenever you are using the packages in your class, either you are designing a package, defining a package, or you are importing some package, it should be the first statement in your program. Before writing the class, you need to specify the package statement. So, first of all, declare the